You're in your car, you turn the key, or press the start button, and nothing happens. If you've ever found yourself in this situation, you may be dealing with a bad starter. But how do you know if it's the starter and not something else? In this video, we'll go over the key symptoms of a bad starter so you can diagnose the issue and get your car back on the road. The starter is a crucial component of your vehicle's engine system. Its job is to crank the engine when you turn the ignition key. If the starter fails, your engine won't start. Let's break down the most common signs that your starter is on its last leg. One of the first signs of a failing starter is a clicking noise when you turn the ignition. If you hear a series of rapid clicks, but your engine doesn't turn over, that's often a sign that the starter solenoid isn't functioning properly. The solenoid is supposed to engage the starter motor to crank the engine, but if it's faulty or weak, it won't engage, leaving you with that clicking sound. This sound can be mistaken for a dead battery, so always make sure to check that your battery has a full charge before diagnosing a starter issue. But if your battery is good, yet the clicking continues, your starter is likely the problem. Another telltale symptom of a bad starter is when the engine simply won't crank. When you turn the key, and the engine doesn't respond at all, this could mean the starter motor has failed completely. A completely silent engine when starting indicates that the starter isn't doing its job. This is when sometimes your car starts up just fine, and other times it struggles or won't start at all. This inconsistency can be incredibly frustrating and is a common sign of a faulty starter. What's happening here is that the internal components of the starter are wearing out, and sometimes they make a good connection, while other times they don't. You might find that tapping the starter allows the car to start, but this is just a temporary fix. It's a clear indicator that the starter is on its way out and needs to be replaced. Seeing smoke coming from under the hood is never a good sign, and when it comes to your starter, it's no different. A faulty starter can sometimes overheat if it's drawing too much power or if it's stuck in a position where it can't crank the engine properly. This can cause the starter to overheat, leading to smoke. If you see or smell smoke coming from your engine when you try to start the car, stop immediately. Another symptom is when you turn the key and the dashboard lights come on, but the engine doesn't respond. This can be misleading because it might make you think that the battery is fine. However, the starter motor is not engaging, meaning the engine doesn't turn over. A rare but important symptom to watch for is if the starter stays on even after the engine starts. Normally, the starter disengages once the engine is running, but if it stays engaged, it could be a sign of a faulty starter relay or an electrical issue with the starter itself. What to do next? So what should you do if you notice any of these symptoms? First, rule out other possibilities, like a dead battery, by checking the charge. If your battery is fine but the symptoms persist, your starter is likely the culprit. Your mechanic can run tests to confirm whether the starter is the problem. If it is, the solution is usually to replace the starter. Starters aren't generally repairable, and replacing it can save you from the frustration of being stranded with a car that won't start. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more automotive troubleshooting tips, and drop a comment if you've ever had starter issues.